Hey everyone, welcome to the very last color along of the year, and I would like you to meet the Llamas brothers. They look like they're ready for a party. Well, this is going to be a little bit of fun, a little bit of scary. It's either going to turn out pretty cool or a hot mess. Now this is a freebie that I have on my website, copingcreatively.net. Hop on over there, get the free downloadable PDF along with the color chart for this page. I will be using Tombow's dual brush pen markers, and I just swatched those out. All 108 of them. You can see that video. I will link that in the description box below. I am also using Derwent ProColor. That's an existing set I've had, and I wanted to use them over markers. I will be using Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, and we had used those previously in another color along, the Tropical Parrot in the Jungle, and I will have a link to that playlist if you want to check that out, where I go into more detail about how that works. I will also be using some really cool watercolor paints from the Art Spirits. I will have a video out coming up next week swatching out the colors, so make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell so you know when that video comes out. But back to the coloring page. I have been wanting to do this color page since I started this project, Coping Creatively. I saw them right off the bat and I'm like, they are so stinking cute. I've got to do them, but I've been waiting for the holidays to get them all gussied up and ready for their holiday fun. And this is pretty sad. I've already named them. This is Sid, this is Harry, and this is George. And I have found pictures that I kind of color matched. Sid is the blonde, the ditzy blonde. George is the fun-loving brunette. Harry is suave and debonair. So handsome. I will have these pictures available for all my Patreons so they can look at these and have a good laugh and smile, and they want to color match better than I do. They will have these pictures. They're just so cute. Okay, we've got some prep work to do before we put the background in. I am not sure what these bubbles are for, but I do not want them in my coloring page. So we're gonna do our best to cover them up. And like I said, this might end up being a hot mess, but I have this Artistro paint marker pen. It's extra fine point, it's white. I just got done watching Sarah Renee Clark's video on where she tested all the white pens in the world. God bless her. You gotta shake these up. I can just imagine how many times she had to shake pens up, and I'm sure I'm shaking the table doing this. Go watch that. I'll put the link to her video down below too in the description box. It's a surprise ending. I'm not gonna let you in on it. Okay, I shook this out enough, and now I just wanna go in and cover up as much of this black as I can. And not leave a big glob. I'm just going lightly over, and it's gonna probably take us a while to get through all of these. Cue the holiday music. One coat on. I'm gonna put a second coat because you can see it's bleeding through a little bit. Just make sure you're not putting it on there too thick because you don't want it to bubble up. It feels pretty nice and thin. We're gonna put another coat on, and hopefully we don't need to put a third. I hope you love the Christmas music because here we go again. It's not covered as much as I want after 2 passes, so let's try 3. If you don't have this Artistro white acrylic pen, you can always use a Posca pen. Arteza has a nice white acrylic pen. There's all kinds out there. This is just the one I am using. I think after this 3rd pass will be enough, I hope. Printer ink is bleeding through, and I want to avoid as much of that as possible. So are you ready for some more Christmas music? I want to have you humming that in your sleep tonight. Did anybody keep count? What did we do? 4, 5, 6, I don't know. All the circles are gone, the bubbles, whatever they were. I'm gonna let this dry down really well, and then we'll go in with our Distress Oxide. I'll see you in a few. Okay, it looks like these have dried down pretty good. You can still see them a little bit, but I think once we get it covered up, we'll be good. For the background, I am using Tim Holtz's Distress Oxide in Hickory Smoke. I used these on a previous coloring page, Tropical Parrot in the Jungle. And if you want to see in more detail on how these work, I will put a link to that playlist for that coloring page in the description box below. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to do a basic background with my little brush here. And then I've got a smaller brush. I'm just going to put that in and then spray it with some water. That's why it would be good to use watercolor paper. We're going to use water and we're going to use water-based markers, but watercolor paper doesn't run through my printer. So what you do is you rub this on there, some of that ink on there, or the oxide, because he's got a distressed ink too. And then you just rub it on there. And when we get to the bubbles we covered up with the acrylic paint, we want to be a little more careful. So I'm just gonna start in the corners here. See, what I want to make this look like is a cold, snowy, dark, gloomy day, but then have these guys just all bright and blingy and ready to party. Yeah, so you gotta be really careful here. It's probably gonna make it darker, we'll see, but that's okay. They're gonna get even more covered up, so you just keep going in and getting your ink. I always start kind of a little out from the edge, that's why you have your tape here, so you don't get a big glob. Oh, see, you can see that. It's okay, we'll cover it up. I just didn't want the black lines showing through. These little darker circles are gonna be fine. And if you get a little on the guys, that's okay, we'll cover it up. Now the last coloring page I used these on, I used a masking fluid, so I wouldn't get the color into the picture because we were doing a bright tropical bird, yellow and blue, and the background was green. I didn't want to get the green into the parrot. I'll get as much color in here as I can. You want to try to get as close to these guys as you can, but we'll be filling that in with either marker or pencil. Make a nice little halo. These are so simple to use and so clean. No mess. I'm gonna get my little brush, get in some of these tighter areas. Let's see if we just pound this over a little bit instead of trying to smear it. I have to try a different brush. One thing too is once you use a brush for these, you can wash them out, but if you're gonna continue to use these, I would say one brush per color, and that way it still holds the oxide in it. I might try a different brush. And I got these cute little brushes from Amazon, as usual. Amazon Junkie. This one's a little bigger, a big gold glob in there. What I learned from before, if you put a big glob in, add more water and it'll tone it down quite a bit. And then also you can spread it around. And we probably could have not wasted our time covering them up. I just wanted to be sure we couldn't see those black circles after we were done. These blobs don't bother me. Now we're also gonna have to be careful once we spray the water on it too. Hopefully it won't run. I'm trying to get as close as I can to these guys. Okay, so if you go over, no big deal. I'm gonna be putting marker and pencil and paint. Yeah, I want to turn these bubbles into snowflakes. That'll probably be the very last episode of this coloring page. And you don't have to be precise with this because we're going to put water on it to make it look distressed. Or if you like it the way it looks, you can leave it this way. No rules. Just like there's no crying in baseball, there's no rules in coloring or life, except for be kind to each other. I'm gonna probably turn it upside down to get the bottom. And go from the top and get this. Yeah, it's always good to rotate your page because you can see things at different angles. I'm trying to find out where these circles are so I don't rub into them too much, because then you're gonna rub the paint off and get back down to your lines. Except watercolor paper would be better, and I can't get watercolor paper to go through my printer. So this is just regular Strathmore Bristol. It's 100 pounds. So it's a little stiffer than the Nina paper stock, and because I used these on Nina paper stock with the previous coloring page, and it buckled pretty good. It still turned out really nice, but it was a little wavy. Keep adding color till you like what it looks like. Hit the skinny brush for some areas here. Try to get in these areas as best you can, but like I said, we're going to be filling in areas with marker and pencil. One or the other or both. Got all these little nooks and crannies you're not going to get in with the Distress Oxide. Like I said in my intro, this is either going to look really cool or it's going to be a hot mess. Yeah, I'd much prefer have these dark splotches than the actual circles. We can work with that. You can't work with black lines in a circle. And I'm finding that the acrylic paint is covering up those dark lines pretty good. I think I'm glad I did that. Get as close as you can. If you go over a little, it's not going to hurt anything. And you want to put a lot of pigment down because when you spray it with water, you want it to kind of run and make spots. And if you don't have enough on there, it's not going to do much of anything. So that's why I keep going over things and just building up the pigment. Okay, I want to flip you over, make sure I got everything. Hopefully you could see it all. Basically, I'm just going in from the opposite direction, making sure I got color where I need it. Putting my little one now. You just don't want to rub too hard on where those circles are. Let's go back to the little skinny one and get some areas. Trying to get as close as I can. Maybe blocking the camera on these. Gotta do what you gotta do to get your color in where you need it. Filling all the way up to these guys. You can do how you want. If you don't want the snowy effect all the way down, you don't have to do that. Oh, this one's gonna be hard to get in. How's that? Did we get in kind of all the nooks and crannies that we could get to? I'm gonna go back in with my big one more time. I'll flip you over, do one more pass that way, one more pass this way, and then we'll be done with this. This almost looks like suede. I'm gonna take this medium-sized brush and get to some of these smaller areas. Okay, I think we're good here. Now we just gotta spray. Now let's see if we can figure out how to do this without getting these guys too wet. Got a little water bottle here. I'm just gonna give a good spray. And then I'm gonna pat. It gives it kind of a distressed look. Now we're gonna go down this side. And it depends too on how far away or close you are with the water. This side, down the bottom. See how that looks. We need to get this little area here. So we're gonna have to be pretty precise with our water. Oh, and the acrylic paint didn't come up either. That's what I was worried about too. What else? We gotta get kind of in this little cubby here. So what I want to try to do is, and then this little cubby here, I want to do like him here. Now it's really looking like suede. And just keep spritzing water on there. If you had watercolor paper on, you could leave water just sitting on there. I notice this paper is holding up a lot better with the water than the Nina paper sack. That was, I think, only 67 pounds, whereas this is 100. Probably gonna get some buckling, not as bad. So now I'm gonna flip you and get the other side. On your side. There, that's better. And once it dries down, it'll even out a little bit. But this is only the second time I've used these. It's still all an experiment for me. I think we're good with that. Blotting any extra water off. Ooh, this got a little wet. Hopefully the ink doesn't run. Everything's fixable. Make sure you got it. And you might want to put, once it's dry, put some books over it so it doesn't start to buckle. Looks like a hot mess right now. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and Yeah, just be careful. I got a little bit of water here. I thank you for joining me. It was so much fun. Next, we will get together and start adding the markers to fill in all of these larger areas. Just remember, this coloring page is free. Go to my website, copingcreatively.net. There's a free downloadable PDF along with the color chart. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell so you know when the next video with the markers is available. I will see you soon. And until then, hang in there and have some fun.